this is where it all began. On October the 15th, 1970, the Sabres, new to the National Hockey League, played their first home game before thousands of hockey-starved fans against the perennially powerful Montreal Canadiens. The Sabres lost 3-0. Fortunately, things got better, a lot better. Over the next 3 decades and on into the millennium, the Buffalo Sabres climbed the ladder of the National Hockey League to become one of its elite. The reason? Well, names like Gilbert Perreault and Rick Martin and René Robert and Jim Schoenfeld and Danny Gare and Pat LaFontaine. They all became members of our family. As in all families, there are highs and there are lows. How about these for some highs? The adrenaline that flowed during the 1975 Stanley Cup playoffs. Or how about Gilbert Perreault's 500th goal? Or Dave Hannon's 4th overtime goal against the Devils in the quarterfinals? And how about the tears that fell from the eyes of fans when Pat LaFontaine closed the doors of the Odd? In 1996, a new era began right here in the state-of-the-art HSBC Arena. A new rink, but the heart and soul was still old-school Buffalo. Join us now as we take a look back and a look ahead. Back in 1970, the Buffalo Sabres won the spin of the wheel and had the first pick in the NHL draft. No one, except for the possibility of Punch Imlach, knew what a phenomenon was about to be created. That phenomenon, the person of Gilbert Perreault. Bert, how are you?
Very good, Ray.
Good. Tell me about that first day when you were picked by Punch as the #1 pick in the NHL draft.
Well, we had two new teams in the NHL, Buffalo and Vancouver, and of course the spinning of the wheel there, and the Sabres, I believe they had from number 11 to towards 20, and that was a lucky number for me, and I was thrilled to be here, and had a great career here, 17 years, and a lot of memories in this building.
So you were never sorry about being here instead of Vancouver, huh?
Now, Buffalo was, for me, the first pick all the time.
Did you know where Buffalo was?
Sure I knew. I was really good in school.
So you had a good idea of what was going to be happening here. Tell me about some of the memories that you had about that team. You had a lot of veterans on this team, yet the pressure was on you.
When you're the first pick, you have to prove that there was no mistake there. And of course, I had some great years in junior, and I was ready for the NHL. You know, I was 20 years old, and it was a big challenge. And of course, the first year I had 38 goals, and Imlach knew how to build my confidence, and of course it took a while to build a team, but in 73 we were in the playoff, and 75 in the finals. So
what about the French connection?
French connection was great. You know, Rick and René, we had 7 years together. It was a lot of fun to play with those two guys, and we had just a great place together and great memories.
Seemed like you always had a good time, the three of you.
Well, we still do. Well, you know, when we stepped on the ice, it was just, we did click right away. It was a lot of fun to play with those two.
No, there's no question about it, and you've been a great credit to this community and to this hockey team, and it's great to see you looking so well. I have one last question. If you hadn't been a hockey player, what do you think you would have liked to be?
Well, Rick, you know me, right?
Yeah.
I said it once for money.
I'm going to get you an Elvis Presley outfit.
All right, good.
Good to see you, Bert.
Good to see you, too.
Through the years, the Buffalo Sabres have defined hard work, intense play, and tough attitude. And the player on the team that usually exemplifies those three attitudes the best is slapped with a C right on his jersey for captain. Two fellas who both had the C and both ended up as coaches of the Buffalo Sabres are here with us, Floyd Smith and Lindy Ruff.
Ah, come on, Floyd, I was supposed to win that one.
Well, Belleville didn't let me win the first one, but, you know, Lindy, it was a wonderful experience for me when I came here. First captain, my career had basically been over when Punch called me and asked me if I'd like to come and be part of this organization back in '70, and he laid it right on the line to me. He said, you're going to play with a young fella by the name of Perreault. We're going to win the lottery, and we're going to be a #1 draft pick, and you've got one job to do. Just do a little checking, get him the puck, and then get out of the road, let him go. And it turned out to be a wonderful association for me. And how about you? How'd you feel when you got named captain here?
Well, it must have been quite some honor being the first captain. I followed Gilbert's footsteps and became captain after Gilbert here in Buffalo. And playing for the franchise for 5-6 years, coming in as a youngster and idolizing a player like that, and then stepping in and becoming captain after him was quite an honor. I think growing up as a kid and you know, wearing a letter or wearing a C every now and then, but to wear one for a National Hockey League team and to play in a city that the fans had so much passion and in this building it was unbelievable.
The years that I was here, I don't believe there was an empty seat. You know, it was exciting. We had an offensive team with lots of scoring and, you know, guys that were kind of entertaining, Eddie Shack to Rick Dudley's, and, you know, it was a neat place to come and play.
It must have been something, the 75 playoff run, to have the playoffs in this building, people right on top of you.
Well, when we beat Montreal was special. I mean, that was the only reason we beat them. We had more French kids in our team than they had in Montreal, but that was a big rivalry with the Montreal team. Scotty, of course, was coaching, and we beat them. We beat them actually pretty handily, and then we went against Philly, and that was a rough and tumble series. But then we lost our goalie, Roger. God bless him. He just couldn't perform, and he was sick every game, and he just got to the point where he just couldn't do it, and we just couldn't match them. But this building right to the last minute was just electric. It was tremendous.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to you know, rebuilding off a lot of the great things in the past. And you're right, this is we've got a special young team here that I think is on its way up. And you know what, if you give me that puck there, Floyd, we'll have one more drop, but this time I'm going to win it.
You know, all of the exciting moments on the ice don't always end up in goals. Matter of fact, one ended up almost completely off the ice, right over there at the Zamboni entrance. It was a Bruins game. You know what that meant. A lot of hard hitting. Most of it legal, but some of it not.
Donnie, remember in the 72-73 season, early in the season, we played Boston that night when Shoney ended up in the Zamboni entrance with Cashman. What were you
I was on the ice, actually, when that happened, and the puck was dumped in and into the corner there, and Shoney was going after it, and Cashman got there at the same time, and Shoney just hammered him right through the boards, and the Zamboni doors opened up, and we started fighting out there, and Shoney was giving it to him pretty good.
And then it went on from there. After Cashman, he ended up fighting
Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr.
Yeah, I think, well, Shoney gave it to Cash pretty good then, the first fight, and then I think Bobby was an MVP that year and a team leader, and he wanted a piece of Shoney, and they went at it in front of the bench again, and, you know, and after that, he fought Carl Vatney, and, you know, 3 fights in one game. It was quite a game.
Wayne Cashman was probably the toughest Bruin, and they were one of the toughest teams in the league at that point in time. And I went to hit Cash, and of course, like he always does, he threw his elbow up and caught me in the jaw. But as I hit him, the Zamboni doors flew open, and of course, now we're out in the concrete, and sparks are literally flying, and fists are throwing, and it was a big deal for a lot of people. Everybody has sort of their own recollection of the moment. I hope mine's more accurate, seeing as I lived it, but. It was a busy night for us. You know, the Bruins were a real powerhouse in the league. We were a young team, young franchise, and Ended up later in the game, there was another scrap with Carl Vadnais, and then the benches cleared, and it's a big brawl, and we win the hockey game. So it was sort of a coming-of-age night for our hockey team.
You know, I never realized just how roomy these penalty boxes were. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to a couple of fellas who spent more than just a few minutes in there.
The new owner of the Buffalo Sabres, E. Thomas Galasano.
We are going to roll back season ticket prices.
Every game is a big game this year. Chris Drury and Andy Delmore, Steve Bejean, those guys definitely are going to make us a better team.
It's our time to step up.
Right now, Sabres hockey is more affordable than ever. Season tickets are as low as $10 a game. With the Sabres six-pack, 5 tickets to any 6 games for as low as $126.
We should have 2 or 3 lines that can match up against anybody.
Buffalo's Sabres hockey. It's your game. Come get some.
Well, Larry, here we are in the old odd penalty box. It's, my house is a little nicer than this, but it's definitely a lot of character in here and a lot of memories. But I hear about your first game. Everyone keeps talking about it. I want to hear the story.
First game, I was drafted in the first round. I was punching him like call. I'll never forget. He called me and he said, "One of the reasons we drafted you because we heard you were tough." And so my first game ends up being in Boston, and I'm on the ice with Jerry Korab. Craig Ramsey was the left winger, and I don't remember who else was on the ice for us. But for them, the first 3 guys was, they had Wensing on the right side, Terry O'Reilly on the left side, and Peter McNabb was center iceman.
So a pretty tough lineup.
Yeah, and the puck, they got the puck back to the D, I think, and they got to the red line, dumped it into my corner. So I went back in, and I made a fake up the wall to pass the puck to Ramsey, and O'Reilly was coming down, to check me, and he went for the fake, and I thought, this is not that tough. I went in behind the net with my head down to set up the play, and Wensing come off the wall and just clocked me. Good check. Put his shoulder right in my chest, and they carried me. He hit me so hard he knocked me back to Hershey, because they carried me off the ice in a stretcher, and once my head cleared, they shipped me back.
They sent you down right after the game.
Yeah. Your best fight?
My most memorable fight, best fight, would have to be against Bob Probert. I grew up watching him my whole life. He was the guy. He was the guy to beat. He was the toughest guy in the NHL growing up. And I watched him in the Domi fights, and it's just unbelievable when I got a chance to. One of my first games in the NHL was to fight Bob Probert. Didn't really want to. He came out and he actually asked me, so that was a big surprise for me to be asked by Bob Probert to fight. I don't know. I didn't really do anything wrong. I just think they were down by 2 goals. He wanted to change the momentum of the game. But
why didn't you say no?
Well, because I knew if I wanted to make the team, I basically had to fight him, which is okay. And then we started going, and the adrenaline just took over, and it was a real long fight. It was about a minute and a half long, and I actually ended up dropping him with the left hand towards the end of the fight, and I just skating to the bench, and Rob Ray smiling at me, big grin on his face, and the crowd was just going crazy, and I knew that I did something special there. And for all these stories you're talking about, you must have been a pretty tough guy, but I don't see much now. You're getting up there in age, and I think I can take you.
Yeah. Well, you can try.
Geez, you're bigger than I thought you were.
Have a good season.
Okay, thank you.
Well, right from the national anthem here, it was always like spark in the air. I have always enjoyed coming here. Small ice surface, great hockey teams. They had big defensemen, so for me it was difficult to do things here, but the fans were close to you, and that's what made it so exciting. And when you had Gilbert Perreault coming down the ice and deke one guy and deke the second guy, and matter of fact, deke everybody else and score a goal with the French connection, wow, even all of us sitting on a bench, we look at it and say, this is exciting, this is great hockey. So my memories are unbelievable, and I'll never forget the speech that Seymour Knox made to say old farewell to this place, because this was hockey at its best, and I was really proud and happy that I have played here.
Well, this looks like a good time to take a break. When we come back, we put the puck in the net with some of the Sabres' all-time best.
The new owner of the Buffalo Sabres, E. Thomas Galasano.
We are going to roll back season ticket prices.
I'm just happy myself to be a part of it and try and help this team make the playoffs.
We want to make this building a place where it's hard to play again.
Right now, Sabres hockey is more affordable than ever. Season tickets are as low as $10 a game. With the Sabres six-pack, buy tickets to any 6 games for as low as $126.
Now we can focus on what really matters, and that's playing hockey and winning games.
Buffalo's Sabres hockey. It's your game. Come get some.
Well, Tim, this building brings back a lot of memories, and one of them, we always used to like to play jokes on each other or tricks. And I was on the receiving end many times, but this one night we were playing a game. We were going for the playoffs, first place, and we were playing a game here. And I had cut Rick Dudley's stick where the bands are. I sawed it halfway because he used to go around the, usually you're shooting a warm-up and you fall flat on your face, so I thought it was going to be very funny. He went and switched sticks, and we forgot about it. Midway through the second period, towards the end of the second period, comes in on a breakaway, and he lets go from about 15 feet. Boom, flat on his face. My head went down. They brought the stick back to the bench, and the trainer looked at it, and he went, "Hey, what's this?" And the coach saw it, and I'm going, "Oh my God, I'm in trouble." We ended up winning the game, so it was fun. We had a great crew back then.
Yeah, well, jokes aside, Rick, you led your team in scoring, many years, and you scored 50 goals in this league before. But what happened in 1976? I heard there's an interesting story.
Oh, yeah, you had to bring that up. Jeez. Well, we came into the last game. I had 49 goals, and Danny Gare had 47. And I guess I must have played 40 minutes that game in Toronto before the game in the warm-up. Well, you're not going to score 50. We're going to watch. And they were all over me. And I did everything. I threw everything at the net except the kitchen sink. And the irony of the whole thing is that Danny ended up getting 3 goals that night. He got a hat trick, and I assisted on all 3 of them. And, it was great for Danny, and it was a great evening, a very memorable evening. But then I looked at the film, and I don't think he tipped that last one, because I did a spin around right from the right point, from the right face-off circle, and I let it go pretty good, and he was skating across. And Danny, always, like that night, he was a real puck hog. And I couldn't believe it. All of a sudden he skates through, and it didn't look like he touched it. That thing had a lot of heat on it. And all of a sudden he starts going like this, and he's in the corner over there, and he's jumping up and down and hitting the glass, and everybody comes off the bench. And here I am standing there, I'm going, he didn't touch that. There's no way he touched that. So I still don't know. We tried to get the film footage from the game, and somehow or other it disappeared. I think Danny got his hands on it.
Rico, come on, look at the tape. You take the slap shot, everyone was feeding you. I get the rebound, put it past the Toronto goaltender. A clean goal, a nice goal, a 50th goal. The only time I really got an opportunity to score that night was on one of your rebounds, and thank you for that. But really, my second year scoring 50 goals was quite a feat for me. I really enjoyed it, and thank you, Rico, for those lovely assists.
Well, Rick, 50 goals is, certainly an impressive milestone in this league. You scored 50 goals twice in this league. What's it like to be a 50-goal scorer?
The first year that I scored 50, Nordy Knox had a bet. He told me, you score 50 goals this year, I'm going to take you to Augusta National to play golf. So I had 44, and I didn't score for about 4 games, 5 games. And Nordy Knox never, ever came down to the dressing room. And he was there, and he said, Nordy Knox wants to see you. And I said, well, all right. So I go outside. He says, Rick, remember our bet? I go, what? He goes, Augusta National? And I went, oh, my God. I had 6 games left. I got it done. I got 3 goals the last night. That was my first 50 goals. It was great. The scoring goals is great. It's a great. It's a lot of fun, especially in this building. When we used to score, the electricity in this building was incredible. People. Best game I remember, we won. We beat the Russians 12-6, and literally get goosebumps on the back of your neck. I have them right now, just remembering that. It was really a great. It was a great building.
I wish I would have had a chance to play in this building, but, they have the new building. The fans are pretty loud there, too. When you score a goal, it's a great feeling. I haven't scored too many, but hopefully in the future I'll score a few more.
Oh, you will, you will. You've got a lot of talent, and, I'll tell you what, why don't you show me what you got here, and, we'll see. You're well on your way, yeah? All right, all right.
Hockey is not the kind of a game that you sit back in your seat and enjoy the action. Most of the time you're right on the edge of your seat, but never so much as during an overtime period. Well, here are a couple of guys who know what it really means to score clutch goals.
You know, Curtis, you wouldn't have believed this place back in 1975 when we played the Flyers. The place was packed. We got in the ice, we got a standing ovation. But it was so bloody warm outside, it was in the 80s, and this building had no air conditioning. It was fog all over the place. National television, people skating around with sheets to get rid of the fog. We get into overtime. I got a partial breakaway, the puck shot in the corner, and I picked it up and I picked this little spot to where Bernie Cross standing, and it was about this way, and I said, I gotta put you in. And yes, it went in, and we won the game. The crowd went nuts. I mean, it went nuts, and Stanley Cup continued. It was an unbelievable feeling for the city, for the team, for the players. We just loved it.
Was that your biggest goal of your career?
It was one of my biggest ones, but I don't think it was my biggest one. I think because I'm from Quebec, I'm from Montreal, I thought the first time we played Montreal in the playoffs, which we weren't even supposed to make the playoffs, we took them to 6 games, and the 5th game in Montreal, well, first of all, the first 2 games, they blew us out of the building. I mean, they outscored us, I think, 15-2 or 3. We figured it was going to be a walkout. We'd be done in 4 games. But anyway, we came back, won 1 here, they won 1. We went back to Montreal and beat them in overtime on the 5th game, 3-2, and I scored the winning goal. That was my biggest goal. What about you, Curtis? What was your biggest goal?
Well, there was a few. I think always the overtime goals are the most exciting. I haven't had many of those. So probably a couple years back when we played Philadelphia, it was kind of a similar situation. You know, real tight series, big rivalry, which you guys started, thanks to you guys. It's been carried on, obviously, the Flyers and the Sabres. And, you know, it was a series that could have went either way, I think, at the beginning. And we just kept battling. And I remember we went into overtime in our home arena. And I had a few chances throughout the game. I just thought that might be my night. And sure enough, we got into overtime, and what happened was we were down scrumming in the corner, and line mates did a good job, and I grabbed the puck and was able to walk it around the net. And it was almost like time stood still. I got out in front of the net and just kept skating out, and everything opened up, and threw it top shelf, and it went in. And the fun just began there, obviously. All the guys piled out, and my job was to get away from them, because sometimes, you probably know this, they'll get a little crazy in the celebration, and if you score, they'll bang you upside the head. So I took off to get away from everyone. It was a lot of fun. It was really good.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Isn't it great to live memories?
Memories are great. Those were a couple great goals, obviously, for each of us. But there's been a lot of goals, great memories throughout the history of this franchise. Why don't we have a look at some of those?
Absolutely.
Well, suffice it to say, they're all big goals. But you know, there's one member of the team that we haven't talked to yet, and that's you, the fan. And here representing you, the fan, is a gentleman named Joe Arlotta. Joe, how long have you been a season ticket holder?
I've been a season ticket holder 43 years.
43 years means that you were a season ticket holder before the Sabres were in existence.
Oh, the old Bison, yeah. Great hockey.
Oh, you have to have an awful lot of memories.
Oh, I have lots of memories.
Do you?
Yes, just
How
great
about we
ones.
take a walk down memory lane together?
Okay, thank you.
Joe, have you always had these seats?
No, I sat here, maybe the last 5, 6 years before the Sabres were, but I sat over there, and Audrey Smith used to sit in front of me, and she moved over here.
That's Floyd's wife.
Floyd's wife, right. That's absolutely right, sir. And what happens is, she says, Joe, would you like a seat behind me? I said, oh, great. So I had 2 seats, and Audrey was nice enough to get me the seat here. And Audrey and Dean sat there. Anderson and his wife sat here. He was the head scout. And the Pickels sat there. They were the controllers. And it was like one happy family.
What's so good about these seats? I notice hockey people always sit in the corner. Punch always used to like to sit in the corners.
Yeah,
what's special about it?
Oh, you see the action from the corners. What you do is here, especially in this gorgeous stadium. This is a hockey stadium. And you hear the skates cut on the ice. And when the gentleman smashed into the boards, you could hear the boards. And it's just great here. It was so nice, and everybody was closer.
Joe, you've transcended many an era through the Buffalo Sabres history, and you're transcending into a new one. What do you see in the future for this team?
Oh, I think we're going to have a great team this year. We got some new players and that. And look at this stadium, just having it filled with fans and that there, and an exciting game of hockey. I'm just so proud to be a Sabres fan.
You know, I've covered the Sabres for the better part of, 20 years. And during that time, I met a lot of people that have become more than just stories. They've become friends. And I want to thank you for sharing this time with us as we relive some very, very fond memories. And I'm sure that you will be reliving some fond memories about this year's Buffalo Sabres.